Learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252.
Ha! Success! Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. It didn't post. I didn't beat the deadline. I did not share the video to my page before we launched. Again, this is like 16 days in a row that I can't get in here, write 2 sentences, and share the live video feed to my own page. All right. But since I'm going to type it out while I'm talking to you, welcome. Hey, Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro here on Spoony Radio, and it's Wind Down Wednesday. So at the bottom of the second hour today, we have Laura calling in. Well, Laura Brown. It's not Laura Brown. Laura Geen, I'm sorry. She and her husband Tom own the Ramo Wine Bar, Ramo de Olivo, up in Bentonville, Arkansas. Fantastic wine bar, great people, and she's going to be joining us and telling us what we should be drinking on Wind Down Wednesday. I'll see if I can stump her with some trivia, and maybe we'll talk about the Great Plague and why the French hate us so much. What do you think? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. She's always got something up her sleeve, so I look forward to talking to her. It's funny because she texted me last week to apologize. The week before, she was in San Diego and actually called in from La Jolla while she was having lunch. And she said, oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. I had forgotten, too. So I said, no, there's no apology necessary. I forgot as well. Apparently, I had had too much wine before Wind Down Wednesday started. So, no, I'm joking. I don't drink in the morning every day. So anyway, Laura will be calling in. It's really fun when she does. I like it. It's a great place. I know I talk about Northwest Arkansas all the time. I need to find more pockets like this. I know Bentonville is unique because of the Sam's and Walmart influence, the proliferation of wealth up there due to the Walton family and all that they've achieved over these years in an entrepreneurial way. And they do a lot of philanthropic stuff now. But it's a beautiful place. And if you know of any other areas of the country like that I'm unaware of, where think of it as a Mayberry on steroids, a place you'd never really think of visiting, but once you get there, you're like, oh my gosh, how could I not know about this? You know, places like Crested Butte, Colorado, or you know, it's not flashy. It's not the flashy Aspen or Vail. It doesn't get the press, but it's a beautiful place to go. It's a great place to go in the summertime, actually, when it's not snowing and you can drive all the roads to get there and there's access from more than one direction. But let me know. You know, go to Spoony.com, or actually you can email me at chefpatrick@spoony.com. You can go to the Facebook page, the Spoony Radio Facebook page, and post there. Or, you know, just... I don't know. Maybe I'll open the phone lines later on and we'll let you call in. But anyway, today's Wind Down Wednesday. I have a few questions, and I'll put up a post later. It'll be a survey. First and foremost, red or white. I just want to know red or white, and then after that we'll go into varietals. But this week will be red or white, and I'm more of a red wine guy. And then I want to know why. Why is it? Is it the flavor? Is it white wines are sweeter? Maybe red wines are more versatile? I want to know why. Everybody has all these preconceived notions of what you drink with what. And there are true pairings which bring out specific notes in a food item or in the wine itself when you pair them. But what about you? What's your personal taste? I always say drink what you want when you want it. I like picnic wines or blends. They tend to be very versatile. Great blends from places like Chateau Gravillicos, which is from it's a white wine blend. It's a beautiful, crisp white wine, not too sweet, not too dry. It's got a little bit of the unripe grape flavor to it. It's fantastic. It comes from the I'm trying to think of the region now. I'll think of it in a moment. Anyway, it's great. You can buy it by the case because it's only about $12 a bottle, and you can drink it anytime. You can drink it by itself. You can drink it with seafood, poultry, with a salad. It's just really versatile. It's one of those nice wines on a hot summer day when you want a crisp, cold glass of wine. And then red California blends are excellent if you want a red, just an everyday red wine, or what they call French table wines. We don't see a lot of table wines here. We tend to go for something that's a specific varietal of grape. 95% of the time, I think, probably more than 95% of the wines here are not blends. But they're really versatile, especially if you get something that has just enough of the big, bold cabs and, say, because Malbec is something that's got a very unique flavor a lot of people don't like. Cab is too big for some people. Zinfandel can be a little fruity on one end of it. The Pinot Noirs can be a little light but still earthy. You blend all those together, though. Throw in something like a Grenache. It's pretty damn good. It goes with almost everything. All right. We'll talk more of that with Laura when she calls in at the bottom of the second hour. I got kind of caught up on wine. I was just thinking what wine would go really well this afternoon with what I'm going to have for lunch, which is probably a protein bar. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure that out after the show. All right. We got a little bit of food news going on today. Let's see what we have. Oh, and by the way, we had someone asked that I post the crab cake recipe from the day before yesterday. Since it was National Crab Cake Day, I didn't get it up on the Facebook page yet or on Twitter, but I will right after the show. I've got it done. It's going to take me a few minutes to post it. But today is National Ravioli Day. And, raviolis, they're kind of a difficult thing to make. The pasta is easy to make. It's just like any other pasta. The filling's pretty simple to make, depending on what you're doing, and it can be very inexpensive to make. It's filling the individual or forming those individual pockets is typically the most difficult part. And there are all sorts of ways to do it. They make these ravioli presses, which are just basically a sheet of plastic or metal that has these pockets in it, and then you fill those. You lay the dough over, you fit it down in, and then you fill them up, and then you lay another sheet on top, and then on top, and you can put more filling in actually after you. You put the other dough on top, the pasta, and then you press it down, and it seals it. Put a little egg wash all over in between the pockets. They work okay. I find the best way to do it is to make the raviolis oversized, leave lots of room around the edge. So if you're trying to make a ravioli that has a really nice clean edge, like the stuff that comes in a can or comes frozen, it's difficult because those are all automated. When you're doing it by hand, you need to leave margin for error. So if it says leave a 1/4 of an inch around the edge when you make your ravioli, I leave at least a 1/2 an inch. That way, if some of the filling spills out over to into that sealing area where the seal is supposed to be and gets caught in between the two sheets of dough, you don't have to worry about it. You got plenty of room, and you don't, you just, look, they fall apart. It's really terrible when you spend all this time working on great food, and then you put it in the water, it's boiling, you're waiting, and it starts to fall apart. It's the worst, not the worst feeling ever, but it's heartbreaking. Anyway, I love ravioli. One of my favorites I've ever had are I love wild mushrooms or just earthy mushrooms. But that when you take the mushrooms and you chop them up finely and you get all the water out, you just saute them in butter, salt, pepper, garlic, maybe some shallot. Super simple. And it takes quite a bit of salt, but you do it over a long time. And this mixture in French is called a duxelle. It's Duxelle. And it's what they put on top of a filet mignon before you make beef Wellington. But you take that mixture and you keep sauteing it. It takes a long time over a low-medium heat. You get all the water out of it, and it starts to turn this golden brown. And it gets that kind of sticky texture that mushrooms and garlic get when they start to caramelize just right. Anyway, so you cook that mixture down, and you don't have to cook it that far, but I like it that way. Get all the liquid out and cook it down till it's not dry, but all the liquid's out. And then, as you turn it and turn one side to start sauteing the other side, it's got that nice golden brown color. That's a chef's favorite color, by the way. If you know any chef and you ask them what their color is or her, and they don't say golden brown, don't eat there. It's just the rule of thumb. It's got to be golden brown. So anyway, you take that filling and you can use any variety of mushrooms. After you do that, then you just fill your raviolis with it. And it's just fantastic. It's one of my all-time favorites. You can serve that with nothing but simple butter, white wine, garlic in a pan. And you just basically boil the white wine, or you can throw the garlic in first, with a little olive oil. When that starts to, you don't want to caramelize it. But as it starts to simmer, put a dash of white wine in, let that simmer down till it's almost dry, and then put in some butter, just enough to thicken it. Take it off the heat, maybe some fresh parsley in there. Oh, it's just so simple and so tasty. Anyway, I found a dish today because I was thinking, okay, what can I tell you to make that isn't going to take you 3 hours to make tonight on National Ravioli Day? And I found this recipe. It's called a ravioli lasagna. Actually looks quite tasty. And the premise of the dish is that you don't have to make these ravioli. They're going to take you all day. You can go buy some really good frozen ravioli. A lot of stores have them now. They just come in like a clear plastic bag. They have a variety of flavors. If you have a like a Whole Foods, or Whole Foods might not have it, but if you're in New York and they have like a Fairway Market, or you have a Central Market like here in Texas, I'm sure Whole Foods probably has them as well. But go buy whatever flavor you want, and then it's pretty simple. It's basically, 3 ingredients, right, plus the ravioli. You make it like a lasagna, but the pasta is everything in between the layers except the meat and the sauce. That's it. So you buy your raviolis, and it can be any kind of ravioli, sausage or cheese. Cheese would probably be the best because that's typically got ricotta and one or two other cheeses. And you need one 25-ounce package, so about 1.5 pounds. You need 1 pound of ground beef, 1 jar of spaghetti sauce, a regular, I think they're 28 ounces, and 1.5 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. I use the part skim. That and some minced fresh basil, and that's it. So you cook the beef in a skillet over medium heat, and until it's done, you drain it off, and then you take a 2.5 quart baking dish, and you layer 1/3 of the spaghetti sauce in the bottom, half of the ravioli and the beef, and then a 1/2 cup of cheese, and then you repeat the layers, and then you just top it with the remaining sauce and cheese. You bake it at 400 for about 40 to 45 minutes, and if you want, you top it with basil. You're done. It actually really even looks delicious. Anyway, I'm not too proud to say that I don't make everything from scratch. I don't make ravioli from scratch at home. It's very time consuming, and typically I'm just feeding me. So, but even so, it's very tedious, and a lot of times you don't get the quality of what you can get from a quality local manufacturer or somebody who distributes regionally. So maybe there's a restaurant that will sell you the raviolis. If you live in Houston, actually, you can call. Oh man, it's Luisa's Pasta, but what's the Casa Della Casa Pasta? Della Casa, DELACASA, Della Casa Pasta. They're in Tomball, Texas. Luisa owns the company, and she has fantastic products. She started out distributing just at farmers markets, and then opened up a restaurant in downtown Houston, and now she's starting to grow. I think she has some contracts with some other restaurants, and a lot of restaurants, but I think she's going into some stores as well. I'd like to get her on the show. Luisa, if you're listening, call in, give me a text. I need to get you on the show. Fantastic product, and I know they just started making a round ravioli, like a big ravioli. And fantastic. It's some of the best pasta I've ever had. So Della Casa Pasta, they're based in Houston. Oh, what else do we have today? There's something else. It's not just National Ravioli Day. I'll post that recipe link in a minute. It is National Small Business Development. Oh, spring sprung today. Spring has sprung officially. So no matter where you are and how bipolar the weather might be, today it's spring. Put your shorts and T-shirt on, go outside, run around, and if it's really cold outside, go back in and put a sweatshirt on. I remember as a kid in upstate New York, I could not wait until it was warm enough that I didn't have to wear like snow pants and a parka. I mean, the first day I could just wear jean pants and a T-shirt. Even if I had to wear a coat over it till I got to school, oh man, that was the best. And then the first day you could wear shorts, it was usually about 45 or 50 degrees. You'd be inside lounging in the house. Your mom would say, go get the mail on Saturday morning. Okay, but it was cool because you'd put your tennis shoes on, even though it was mud season. There's the snow's melting and making the driveway all muddy. Our driveway was like 300 feet long, and it was always muddy, especially in the springtime. But you had your shorts on, even though your legs were cold. The sun was shining bright. It felt so good. If it's cloudy, pretend it's sunny. It's spring. It's here. What does spring bring with it? Food, good food, ramps. I talked about ramps the other day, this flat chive-like onion. They're fantastic. They actually grow wild in upstate New York. Farmers markets are starting. I love farmers markets. I always find something that I never expected to find. Like in Bentonville, Arkansas, I was talking to a gentleman who's from Vietnam who has a wonderful farm. I wish I could remember the name of the farm. I used to buy tons of stuff there for the late weekend nights, so Saturday night, Sunday, and then for specials early in the week when I didn't necessarily have access to the freshest fish. So I'd try to make something that would really spruce up a traditional beef dish that we had on the menu. And I've spoken about this one other time, but he taught me how to cook the vine of the pumpkin plant. Because I was looking for a unique vegetable, and they didn't have gailan, which is like a Chinese broccoli that really doesn't have the floret of broccoli on the top. It's not like broccolini or kohlrabi, but they didn't have it, and it's my favorite green to cook with. So he showed me that because I was looking for a unique texture, and it's so interesting. It's got this crunch like you get from okra. Whether you like okra or not, it's a fantastic texture as long as, if you took the slime away. But yeah, it was really interesting because you peel the little, it's got a skin on it. All right, people. Sorry, I can't take your call. I'll call you back later. It's got this kind of, this layer over it. It has the little fuzzy, like stickers on it. You peel that off and it really doesn't, you can't tell that it's different. It almost looks like a celery stalk underneath. But if you look at it from a cross view, if you took a cross cut of it and you look at it, it's got these, it's got a structure inside that's kind of like, not honeycomb, but almost like okra has. And when you saute that, it doesn't really soften all the way, and that fiber stays intact. And so when you eat it, it's a little soft on the outside. Then there's that little crunch in the middle, and the flavor is, it's very clean. It's unlike anything I've had. I thought it would be something like pumpkin, akin to pumpkin. But it really was nothing like it. Fantastic. Oh, pretty soon squash blossoms will be coming in. Let's see. Squash blossoms. That's something in Arizona you see on the menu all the time. There's actually a restaurant at the Hyatt at Gainey Ranch. It used to be there. I don't know if the restaurant's changed names. That was called the squash blossom. And one of the dishes, it was the first time I've ever seen it, but a lot of places do this. It's a very traditional Italian presentation. But you actually take the blossom that would become the fruit of the vine, which would be your zucchini or your yellow squash or whatever you happen to be working with. And when it's a certain size, you pick that, and then you actually stuff the flour. You get it before it's open. So it looks kind of like the petals of the flower are just coming out the top of the, I don't know what that's called, the leaves that enclose it. And then, but you open that up and you stuff it with, it could be mozzarella cheese, or it can be a breading mixture. Typically it's cheese inside, and then you can bread and fry them. They can be roasted. Squash blossoms. Man, I haven't had one of those in a long time. I got to write that down, squash blossom. All right, squash blossom. Yeah, it's just a great time for all sorts of vegetables that come in. Spring onions are coming up pretty soon. I don't know. Anyway, go to your local's farmers market. They typically start around the mid-April time. You know, when it's hard. Unless you're in the South, it might be May before they start. But you always find something unique. And look, if the vegetables aren't coming up out of the ground, there's always a local coffee roaster. There'll be someone that has local honeys and jellies and jams. There's always something to be had there. So let's see what else we got here. What else is in the news today? I have not read the news, and in case you want to know where I get these stories from, there's a website, and I just tell you, it's called fark.com. Fark, not fork, F-A-R-K. And they have a lot of different categories. They have the main page, they have discussion, sports, business, geek, more like tech, entertainment, and politics. But on top of that, they have food. So they aggregate all these articles that people submit from around the world. And it's a very interesting way to find stories, because the headline doesn't always tell you what the story is, so you have to click through to see. Let's see what we have now. That's what's in the news today. No. Okay. I'm not sure why that's under food because what was his name? Screech? I don't know why. Why is Screech coming up as once a star, now totally broke? Oh, that's a sponsored link. So basically that was clickbait. Okay. I'm not as good as I want. Oh, yes. Coming soon to a restaurant near you. Lab-grown beef. Lab-grown beef. You know what else is coming? Lab-grown bacon. That's right. Scientists in England, in Britain, have produced the first meat grown in the lab, okay, instead of on the hoof. Now, this is not the first time any meat's been grown. They've been doing beef for a while. This is the first time that they've done bacon. This is the University of Bath. They have grown animal cells on blades of grass in a step towards cultured meat. Now, they say a step. They're actually further along than this. That's, again, I'm not sure what the long-term repercussions of this are. I mean, I don't know what process of treating these animal cells is so that you can get them to grow in a petri dish or in a lab or on a stem of grass or whatever you have to do to it. I'm not sure. But cultured pig cells, yeah, it doesn't really sound very good to me. Hey, do you have any of that cultured bacon? Yeah, it's classy. It's educated. It's cultured bacon. No, it's grown in a lab. Never saw the sunlight. Was never actually alive. Never had a heartbeat. It's a little scary. Man, and they have a picture of it. Not cool. It doesn't look appetizing at all. No, I can't do it. I'm not even trying it. You can't pay me enough to try it. After it's been on the market for 3, 4, 5 years, I'll try it. Of course, I said that with fugu, the blowfish in Japan. I'm not trying it. No, I'm not going to die. 2 little containers of sake later. I'm like, yeah, give me another piece. Fill my bowl. Fill the bowl. Put the whole stew in there. It's fine. No, none of the broth. Just put the fish in. No. Yeah. You know how many bad decisions must be made when you're drinking? I mean, who the hell, and I've said this before, I probably say it twice a week or once a month, I don't know. Who decided that puffer fish, blowfish, was edible? In Japan, something like every year, every 2 years, a drunk fisherman dies. They die on board or as they're coming into port because they've been drinking and they somehow think that they have the skills to fillet this fish in a manner that's not going to kill them. To take the exam is very expensive. I think it's $5,000. And you can fail in a matter of moments to get and you have to be licensed to serve blowfish in Japan. But I mean, really, what did they do? Like everybody got drunk and said, okay, you go first. You cut it and you eat a piece and we'll see if you die. And then if you die, we'll take another fish and I'll cut it and I'll see if I die. And if I die, Jimmy will jump in. And if he dies, Hero will jump in. But eventually we got to figure out a way to prepare this so you don't die. It makes absolutely no sense. What was the mindset that made someone so... they must not have been desperate. I wonder if a scientist figured this out. All right, I'm gonna do research. Who decided to eat fugu? F-U-G-U, blowfish. If anybody knows the answer, I got a lot of Japanese friends out there. I don't know if I have the reach to tell them that I'm on the radio, but if any of my Japanese friends out there know, Chuck Rogers, you're in Japan. Come on, man, you've been there since. Man, we were still in high school when you went to Japan. Or you're in Guam, but right after first year of college, so you were 18, you're 51. Dude, that's 33 years. You've been there 33 years. You got to know who was the first one to eat fugu. I know you have a restaurant there and you have an art gallery there. I know you have a school there. You're very educated, Chuck. You got to give me the number or give me the answer. I'm gonna reach out to you on Facebook, actually. Anyway, look, we got about 30 seconds left. Yeah, we got more food news, a couple recipes. Lots of fun stuff going on today. I don't want to give everything away. We have a caller tomorrow. Oh, Jeff Wetzel's calling in tomorrow to give us the fishing report, better known as Le Bouvier Chef Services Master of Ceremonies. What is he? Classically French, tragically redneck? Anyway, he's going to call in and tell us about his pond to plate video cast he's doing live on Facebook. Give us a fishing report, have some fun, and he's going to tell us what he caught and how to prepare it this week. Yeah, all right, I'll be right back. I may open the phone lines. Maybe not. I'm not sure I'm in the mood to answer your calls. Hang in. We'll be right back.
Have you done it? It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
It's a funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone, RIDUzone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism,
Yes,
so you're
it does.
burning more.
Yeah, it
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com, RIDUzone.com.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
And we're back. Thanks for hanging over through the break. This is Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. I was just reading some of these headlines. I had forgotten about this, but back in 1989, Kellogg's, they had a Battle of the Breakfast Cereals, a corporate event that it featured wrestling matches between competitors with sporting names like Total the Terrible and Hondo the Honeybee Haymaker. I don't remember who won that. Well, let's find out. Yeah, it was yeah, they did it like the WWE. It was a big deal. It was supposed to they had 4 bouts, right? It was a 4 no holds barred bouts. The names were like Minneapolis Melee, Terror in the Twin Cities, The Brawl near St. Paul. You know what, though? I don't even know what came about of it. I don't know who won. I don't care. I do remember them hyping that up, though. I was a big wrestling fan when I was a kid. They had all the regional shows on. The funniest thing, though, is we got okay, give a little insight on my family. Maybe you know why I'm so crazy. On Sundays, we typically ate either lunch or dinner at my grandparents' house. They lived about a half mile away. Again, my father's family, most of them lived on the same road. All of his siblings except one and his parents. So Sundays, we'd go up for lunch or after lunch and then stay for dinner. But my grandmother, so Sunday was a pretty typical day. But Saturdays, you really couldn't go in the house and hang out and bug grandma for cookies, or at least not for a couple of hours late on Saturday morning. The reason was my grandmother, yes, Bernice Mosher, loved professional wrestling. And she would scream at the television at the top of her lungs. I know this isn't food related, but it reminds me of certain times I couldn't do certain things as a kid. But on Saturday, she would spend like, I think it was 2 hours, 2 solid hours watching wrestling, asking me if did you see that, Patrick? It was it was actually quite comical. It was very interesting to watch. Maybe that's why maybe that's why I wrestled, growing up. I don't know. Odd though. This old lady watching wrestling. I mean, she was old when I was a kid. Anyway. Oh, Jelly Belly is now infusing some of their jelly beans with CBDs. I don't know if you've seen this, but CBD, all the rage. This is an extract that comes from hemp and or other varieties of the cannabis plant. It's also made in your body. And they have now cannabis-infused jelly beans. So toasted marshmallow, mango, and a few other flavors. But these are CBD infused. All right. So these are not psychotropic. They don't make you high. They are psychoactive because they do affect brain function. It has a calming effect. CBDs, cannabidiol is the actual name of it. But anyway, it's David Klein who's one of the developers of new flavors of Jelly Bellies. He's concocted 38 flavors, ranging from toasted marshmallow to pina colada, all CBD infused. Each bean contains about 10 milligrams of CBD and can be ordered online. So 10 milligrams, to let you know, that's about a third of a dose. So, nothing really bad can happen. People are like, oh, what if you eat the whole bag? Nothing. The receptors, just look, I'm not to get on my whole CBD high horse here, although it's a pretty high horse. It's the receptors that for intake of CBD and or THC or any of many of the components, not any, many of the components found in cannabis, specifically hemp that we're talking about right now. They can only absorb so much at a time. And so once the receptor's full and blocked, it can't absorb anymore till that's fully absorbed. So there's no chance it could ever do anything. People are like, oh, but if I drink the whole bottle or I ate the whole bag, I'm going to pass out, because it does have a relaxing effect. It doesn't sedate you. It doesn't knock you out. And no, you can't overdose on it. As a matter of fact, there is not a single attributable, not a single death. And no, I'm not telling everybody about rush to your store and buy marijuana and quit drinking, because I'm not quitting drinking. But there's not a single death attributed to, now, it can be the cause of due to impairment, but overdose, there's not a single overdose case ever recorded that's been found legitimate for THC. I found that fascinating. I don't like the idea of not feeling in control. I don't like being high. I don't like being drunk. I don't even like being hangry because I can't control my temper. But yeah, it's I find it fascinating that there's never been one case attributed directly to overdose. It's always in combination with something like, yeah, they were high and they veered off the road. Or I had a friend in high school, I won't say your name, who was actually sitting at a red light one night, and apparently he was an avid partaker. He's sitting at the red light and fell asleep at the red light after having smoked that night. And I believe I think a police officer kindly woke him up and said, you're sleeping at the red light. I was not present, and I've heard the story several different ways. Again, I won't say your name, but I'd like to know. If you're listening, private message me on Facebook and let me know. Hey, if you don't know where to find us when we're not on the air, you can go to Spreaker.com, look up Spoony Radio, or look up the name of any of the shows, Food Biz Pro. Let's see. Starting at the end of this week, I need a little confirmation from all my show hosts, probably by tomorrow. Every new show that goes up any day of the week, and mine 5 days a week, will go to Spreaker, to our channel on Spreaker, so you can listen to everybody on podcast, every new show that comes out. Up until now, it was just my show, the Food Biz Pro. We had, who else? Trey's Chowdown with Trey Chapman, and I believe that the Gut Check project with Dr. Kenneth Brown and Eric Rieger. Those three were up already because we're live, so we don't have to worry about editing or dropping files in and making sure the automation software picks it up. Once the show's done, it just uploads to Spreaker. But now, the master behind the glass there, Ron, the man of the hour, he was kind enough to buy some new automation software. So now everyone will be going up. If you look at the... Actually, I'll put the schedule out. After I get verification from all the show hosts, I will put out there the day and time. I'll put the schedule up that their shows launch. Each new show launches. And then every time that new show launches, you can find it on Spreaker. It's a good way to go. Now, you can go to our website and click the Listen Live button. All that does is take you to iHeartRadio, and it tells you whatever. It just is going to play whatever's live right at that time. But if you go to the website and you go to the schedule, it tells you who plays when and where. It's kind of cool. Everybody that has a show on Spoony gets a replay. So it doesn't matter if it's your first show of the day, or say your new show goes up on Tuesday at 3:00. Well, you're probably going to get played at like midnight on Tuesday, and then sometime in the middle of the night on Tuesday, and then those same times throughout the week until your next new show launches. So stay tuned. I'll put that schedule out. It's going to make it really easy for you to find everyone, listen to their shows, and look, I love that you listen to my show. Oh, you know what? I can't even show myself some love. I still didn't share the post. Guest, Laura. All right. Laura from Ramo. at Ramo de Olivo. De Olivo. All right, there we go. Ramo de Olivo. Come on. I don't want it to say olive. Ramo de Olivo. Is that one? Ramo de Olivo. There's so many Ramo de Olivos. I don't know. Well, I'll find it in a minute. All right. Anyway, should be on. Bottom of the second hour. In the meantime, let's go back to the stupid food news. Yes, I said stupid food news. Huh. All right. We've debated toppings on pizza forever and ever. Best type of pizza, crust style. All right. I'm a New York thin crust or Neapolitan fan. I do like Chicago deep dish. I don't like pineapple. I am okay with barbecue chicken. I'm okay with seafood, specifically shrimp. Vegetables of almost any sort. Except, I'm not a big fan of corn on mine. I'm not. I don't like corn on pizza. But all of that aside, they interviewed, how many did they interviewed and surveyed how in every country in the world. And the most popular food is, guess, Italian. It's the most popular cuisine in the world. I mean, it's not surprising. As I spoke about yesterday, it's the first complete cuisine, meaning that they had pretty much all of the techniques and flavor profiles to include in their cuisine that were found in the major regions of the world that were known at that time, right? So, yeah, that's it. So 99% of Italians love Italian food. 90% of Spaniards love Italian food. 90% of French chose Italian as their first. Over 90% of the Swedes, Brits, Filipinos also love Italian, as 90% of the people in the Philippines and Australia as well. So basically, almost every country, 90+% found it to be their number one food. Let's see. They also found that Chinese food was the second most popular in the world, while Japanese ranked third. That's interesting. Japanese is third. Now, Japanese is third. That's funny because I put up a survey the other day. Right? Someone had posted this. I stole it, and then they shared it back. Thank you, everybody, for doing that. But it was about one of these must go. And the options were bacon, donuts, tacos, or sushi. And a lot of people I know, and I'm very surprised by this, a lot of chefs as well, said sushi, hands down. For me, it's donuts. I can do without donuts. But bacon, tacos, and I mean, you could turn a donut, you could turn a taco into a donut somehow, right? You can't turn a donut into much more. I know people put burgers between the. That's not doing something different with it. All right, that's not even repurposing. But interesting that that sushi was one of the was probably the number one answer I saw. Now I don't know, and this was a lot of people I know in Arizona that, and I said I don't know what is the sushi so terrible in Arizona that it comes in last. I know it's a landlocked state, but I mean I find sushi to be extremely popular there. As a matter of fact, a lot of companies are based out of there are a couple chains that are big full service Japanese sushi restaurants. Like I think Raw Sushi is based out of Scottsdale. So I was just curious about how that happened. It's now number third in the world as far as popularity. So we have Italian, Chinese, Japanese. The least popular food in the world is Peruvian. Oh, that's too bad. I like Peruvian food. And then Finnish came in not far behind that as second to last. They said had the study included the opinions of people from Peru, then the Finnish probably would have landed in the last spot. But I wonder why Peruvian. I don't think people really know what Peruvian food is. I'm a chef for a living. I used to make Peruvian food at Nobu and at Matsuhisa. Some non-traditional takes on traditional Peruvian food. I probably can't name more than 8 or 10 Peruvian dishes. So I suppose that could be it. No. All right. Well, that's it on that one. Not as interesting as I thought it'd be. All right. Let's see. Cooking in the old day. Can you imagine? I think back about a historical perspective on cooking, right? And it always comes from this. I was driving through Colorado one time. I was driving from Pueblo, Colorado up to Denver. I go north of Pueblo, going up the highway, and I see this kind of rolling valley, and then this big mountain to the east, right? And this just really rugged terrain. There's a nice little river that runs through there. I don't know if it's Arkansas or not, which is part of the Colorado River, but it's this beautiful landscape. But my thought went to, could you imagine being the first settlers or the first explorer to come across from the east going west, looking off this ridge, this big, say, 150, 200-foot rock ridge, down into this valley of trees, and then this river flowing by, and then the road wasn't there, of course, right? So now you're looking on the other side, and all you see from there is, there's a small rise where I was on the highway, but then as you look further west, there are the Rocky Mountains, and all you can think of is, how the hell do I get over there? Now, from there, my thought jumps to, man, how did you prepare, food? The difficulty that was just on a daily basis encountered to feed yourself. The work. You had to build a fire every day. You didn't build a fire 3 times a day, so you didn't get 3 hot meals. You probably had one big meal. But you had to build a fire. You had to kill something to cook. You couldn't carry enough dry goods back then, not in a horse, not even in a wagon. You could, beans and things like that, but you couldn't carry enough of everything, so you had to kill whatever protein you had. And then, like, fresh, were you going to forage for fresh vegetables? Probably not. So you didn't have a large variety of foods. You probably ate the same thing day after day. Then the cleanup, you didn't have running water everywhere. It's not like you could just, roll up to the sink, or even have a mobile sink, that we have these events that we do. Just screw the hose on, plug it in, and away we go. You push the button and the water runs out. So you had to be near a stream. And, how much work must that have been? Like, if you went out, Lewis and Clark, how long were they on expedition? I don't know. I'm not asking for an answer, but how long did that take? And then to have to cook like that every day. And even once you settled somewhere, you didn't have any running water inside. You had a well, right? Especially if you lived anywhere outside of a town, even after they had running water. In upstate New York, my father, the home that we moved into near my grandparents, which we only lived like 5 miles away before that. I know, too far. But anyway, he bought his uncle's house, my grandfather's brother's house. That house had running water inside, but only in the kitchen. So for the first, we moved in the summer, then fall, and then winter, and then into spring, before my father finished the indoor plumbing, we had an outhouse. And that was bad enough, let me tell you. Yes, I had to use an outhouse. There was no indoor bathroom. I know. I told you I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. But, that in itself was a huge factor in how you decide to spend your days. But then can you imagine all this the other difficulties in cooking? I watched, there was a show where people were, they had to live like pioneers, right? They all have their home. They have to grow vegetables. They can bake things and barter or sell so that they have enough money to acquire the goods if they can't grow them or if they can't make them. And I was thinking about the sanitary conditions that people must have had to deal with. One of the households, they just like dumped their food scraps, I think like next to one of the stables. Okay, well, that's okay for a couple of days, right? But in all reality, it would attract wild animals, number one. Number two, now you start getting flies, you start getting, bacteria, and this stuff starts getting passed, it just gets all over, right? It's a terrible, this breeding ground for all sorts of bad stuff. We're not going to talk about that. But, how difficult must it have been just to keep a farmstead 200 years ago sanitary enough that you didn't die of dysentery or, that you just had 2 hot meals a day. You had to cook over live open fire all the time, right? I remember seeing, you watch all the old Westerns, they always had a pot hanging inside the fireplace. How creative would you have had to be if that was your only source of fire? Randy White, where are you today, man? Live fire cooking. Talk about live fire cooking. Randy, man, his show starts next Monday, I believe. He's going to be in here at 10 a.m.? Yeah, 10 or 11. I'm not sure. I think it's 11 a.m. No, he's going to be here noon. At noon Central. That's 1 p.m. Eastern, because he's going to be right preceding my show. So Randy White, it's called Into the Fire, his new show. I'd tell you more about it, but I'll let him do it when he comes in next week. That's going to be a real fun show. But think about that. Always having to cook with live fire. What a pain it was. I've lived in homes that only have fireplaces for heat. And it's a chore. Even in the modern world, it's a chore. I mean, we have a truck to go buy wood with. We have all sorts of modern conveniences. Worst case scenario, you go plug in an electric heater, right? But back then, you had no other alternative. And you lived in a stone house, even if it was stone, if it was this non-insulated or uninsulated, wooden home, right? A log cabin. Keeping the place warm at night is enough. But then having to stoke the fire all day long, or at least maintaining coals or, hot coals, so that you could stoke the fire in the evening to cook. I mean, incredible fortitude that people must have had that settled this country. I'm being thankful, that's all. They did a lot of work. Our predecessors, our forefathers, did a lot of work to ensure that we have the country we have today. And let's see. Yeah, no. So people are like pressure cookers. Pressure cookers are great, right? But they were kind of unidimensional in that they just cook things very quickly, right? Under intense, pressures and stresses. But these new I don't own an Instapot. I've never used an Instapot. I have so that's kind of like the third generation of crock pots. The original crock pots were just, you basically choose your low, medium, high, right? And they didn't seal it all. You put whatever you wanted in there and you just let it go all day. So stews especially, or roasts that needed a long time to cook, dark meat of like the dark meat of poultry, things that could cook forever without drying out. Awesome. But the second generation were programmable. Now, they had a lid that did seal, like it had these clamps that you could seal them down, and then you could choose whether you're how long you wanted to go for. If you're, you want high heat the whole time. If it's high heat, then it goes down to low heat. So it was a little more programmable. Excellent stuff. But now these Instapots, I have to try one. I know that two of our business partners here, Brad and Beth, not Bad and Breath, but Brad and Beth got one for Christmas, and I've been dying for them to bring it in. Beth doesn't like to cook. She actually despises cooking. She says she's not good at it, which I don't buy, but she loves it. She cooks every night now. And again, you can use it like a standard crock pot, or everything else is done in 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the size. Before I came on today, I actually did eat something. I had a mandarin orange, and I love citrus. Apples are my favorite fruit. Citrus of many sorts are my second favorite. And apparently, there is a difference between the nutritional values, but also the nutritional values of tangerines, oranges, grapefruit, so on and so forth. We all know that vitamin C is supposed to be really high in orange, grapefruit, guava. They definitely do bring benefits. But tangerines are in the same category, but they're even mightier than the big giant grapefruit. And the reason is that they have, vitamin C, vitamin A. Wow. So vitamin A actually helps delay gray hairs. So if you're like me, a little premature graying, mine started at 17. Can help with that. Now, it has vitamin C helps with it helps you produce collagen. It helps vitamin A helps with hair helps hair stay hydrated, which helps it not be gray. It also has B12. all right, which is a stress reducer, all the like a B complex. What else? B12. But anyway, apparently out of all the citrus, that's the one to eat. So what does it do for your body? Besides keeping the vibrant color in your hair longer and delaying the aging of your skin, tangerines also can improve digestion, regulate blood pressure, protect your heart, reduce your risk for cancer, diabetes, and osteoporosis. Yeah, my bones are getting brittle. I probably need to worry about that osteoporosis. Now, diabetes, that's a factor in my family. My mother died in a diabetic coma. Her uncle Ross actually was amputee. And cancer, well, my father died of cancer. So I guess I need more tangerines. Do tangerines help you lose weight? Yes, they are high in fiber, so they can, if you eat a high fiber diet, help you be healthier to lose more weight. And it also helps to improve blood sugar levels. Also, I think that, if you high fiber, healthy diet, lower stress, lower weight, all contribute to lower risk of heart disease. So what is here's what I wanted to know. This is the ultimate question. What is the difference between oranges, tangerines, and clementines? There are differences, but the biggest is that tangerines are smaller, I know that, than oranges. They have slightly softer skin, I know that. And they're a bit less tart, I knew that. And nutritionally, we just talked about, they have less vitamin C and fiber because they're smaller. But they do have the other, they do have other stuff. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. I like the cuties ones that come in a little bag. You buy them. They're really easy to peel. Clementines are great. Oh, Satsuma. If you have oh God, this is the time of year. Yes. Okay. If you have a store like Central Market near you, I got a little excited there for a minute, and I did have regular coffee again today. I need to remember not to do that before the show. But they have these oranges called Satsuma oranges. They're like Satsuma oranges are they're like a clementine or a tangerine, but there's a small one. It's kisu or kisume. Kisu tangerine. I don't think they're called clementines, but there is one called come on. Kisu, no, what's it called? It's they're tiny. They're so cool because they're bite size. The whole thing is like one bite. And the skin is really loose. It's really like if you get a clementine orange or clementine style tangerine or whatever I think it's just called clementine, they have a really loose peel on them. These are the same thing. And they're, like I said, they're literally one bite. They're the sweetest bite of citrus I've ever had. I don't know where else you can get it. If you go to, I'll bet if you went to a farmer's market in L.A., especially the one in Santa Monica, or if you go to a specialty produce provider in Los Angeles, any other big city, then you can find them there. But if you live in Texas, go to Central Market. They're awesome. Their produce selection is better than anything I've seen anywhere, hands down, except maybe Fairway Market in New York. They kind of go back and forth. I know the one in Houston and Fairway compete to be the largest selling gourmet retail store in the country. But, man, the citrus is one thing. They'll have 10 or 12 or 15 different varieties of citrus. They'll have 5 varieties of oranges, 5 varieties of lemons, 10 or 12 different oranges or, variety of oranges, tangerines, clementines, things like that. But then they have all this other stuff, passion fruit, guava. They have the Buddha's hand I spoke about last week on the show, which isn't really edible, but it smells delicious. Your whole house will smell like orange lemon pledge, kind of, but better, like it's real, not that waxy fake stuff. What else do they have? Apples. In the fall, when you go there, in the wintertime, they'll have 20 to 30 varieties of apples. It's unbelievable. Anyway, Central Market is the place to go. If you can find Kisume, I got to find it. I'll look it up in the break here in a minute. We're going to have a quick break at the top of the hour. Yeah, I love produce. This is that time of year when all the new stuff comes out. They have black radishes. I don't know if you've ever seen those before. There are one called watermelon radishes, too. If you julienne those watermelon, if you peel them and then julienne them, and you make like a salad out of it, you take some of that and add some jicama. Jicama. I don't know if you've ever had a jicama. It's this crisp, watery, kind of bland tasting, but slightly sweet, crunchy root vegetable. It's one of my all-time favorites. But you take that, you make an apple vinaigrette, maybe add a little heat into it, mix it with a jicama as a julienne kind of slaw. Oh, man. I got to start eating before I come on the show. There are two reasons. I don't lose my train of thought, and I don't just, kind of go down rabbit holes because I'm hungry. Anyway, hey, it's top of the hour. Bottom of this hour, don't forget, Laura Gein's going to call in with Wine Down Wednesday. What are we going to have today to drink? She'll try to wow us with her wine knowledge, see if she can stump me. And I want to talk about the wine plague that happened. This happened a couple hundred years ago. It's really, I believe, why the French don't like us very much and why they think our wines suck. And it's not what you think. It's not because we're mean or snooty or don't speak the language. It's because we killed all their old vines. So anyway, come back in a few minutes. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro, will be right back after this break. Ciao for now.
This is the only 24-hour Take Anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. In northwest Missouri, 2 more levees were breached Tuesday, and the 220 residents of the town of Craig were ordered to evacuate. Water is also lapping at the edge of the tiny town of Fortescue. Meanwhile, Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts says the damage in his state is devastating.
We've hit record crests on the Platte, the Loop, the Elkhorn, the Missouri. We know that the damage is very widespread.
Ricketts says they have a preliminary number on the losses.
$439 million in infrastructure damage, $85 million to private homes and businesses, 2,067 homes damaged, 341 businesses damaged or lost.
The floodwaters blamed for 3 deaths in the Midwest. President Trump says he's looking forward to touring the Lima Army tank plant in Ohio this afternoon. Speaking to reporters outside the White House before leaving for Ohio, the president says the facility had been in danger of closing.
It was going to be closed, and I stopped them from closing it, and now it's thriving and doing great. And the people of Ohio, they like Trump because I've done a great job in Ohio.
SRN White House correspondent Greg Clugston, who's among the reporters traveling with the president, reports that Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan and Army Secretary Mark Vesper are accompanying Mr. Trump on the trip. He will also attend a fundraiser in Canton. Also on townhall.com, police officials in New Zealand say the man responsible for killing 50 people in 2 mosques was on his way to a third attack when police arrested him. That petrochemicals plant fire in Houston has finally been extinguished. The fire began Sunday at the International Terminal Company in the suburb of Deer Park. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 96 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252.
And we're back. We're back. All right. I can't lie. I was actually kind of shaky last segment because I haven't eaten. I mean, I did. I had some, a couple of bites of food. Not enough. Look, I'm a 200-plus pound guy. I know I look like I weigh like 150, but I'm not. And although I weighed 148 when I graduated high school, can you believe that? 147.
We were all skinny then.
Dude, I was at 220 just like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm down to 202, 201.9 right now.
Good for you.
I know. I'd like to get back down to about 190. I feel good when I'm that weight, but I'm always hungry. So I eat a lot, and then I run a lot, and then I eat a lot, then I run a lot.
Don't run. Hey, don't run by any trains.
No, you know, I heard producer Ron telling the story about that a little while ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, it's funny because I don't think about it every day about that specific.
Right.
But I'm asked like every 3 or 4 days.
Oh, yeah. It comes up in conversation pretty normally these days.
Exactly. So you've lost a little bit of weight there.
I have. I actually had a milestone today, finally.
You're down to?
259.
From?
274-ish.
And you were stuck at like 262 for a while, right?
Yeah, I had a 3-week period. So it's amazing how the body works. Because I went from like 274 to like 268 in a heartbeat. I mean, 7 pounds gone.
Yeah.
That was like the first week. And I started Riduzone, of course, and did it that way. And then I've I've been doing this for 10 weeks now. I've slowly been losing about a pound and a half a week.
Which is a really good, that's a perfect rate.
Absolutely. And I knew that. I mean, look, it's taken me 44 years to get fat. Seriously.
Yeah.
And you know, they always say it too. You see The Biggest Loser, you watch people lose weight and they lose it so drastically fast.
Yep.
And then it all comes back.
Did you ever notice they don't show those people anymore?
Exactly.
Almost everybody has laps.
Exactly. Because to lose that kind of weight, they go to a structured environment.
Yep.
They work out 8 hours a day.
And starve themselves.
And they starve themselves. That's right. And that's how you lose massive amounts of weight. That's how you do it.
Absolutely.
To be healthy, like you said, my goal was a 6-month goal.
That's a good time.
I wanted to take 6 months and lose 30 pounds.
That's a real good.
5 pounds a month.
That's absolutely doable.
Right. And that's what because people, they put unrealistic expectations on their weight loss.
Hey, we all want a magic pill.
Well, we all want to lose weight fast. We all want to be sexy. We all want to be thin. We all want to be what, society says we have to be.
Fat guys are sexy too, bro.
I got lots of loving in this tank, let me tell you. But, the funny thing is, I set up a very realistic timeline for myself. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try Riduzone. I'm going to take it religiously. I'm going to try to eat better. And I'm going to try to get into the gym at least 3 times a week.
Which I know you're doing.
And I am. And I'll go to the gym later today. I normally go about 5:30 at night, and I go work out and burn calories because it's what you got to do, right? But my whole thing was, let's lose 1 to 2 pounds a week.
So are you sleeping?
I'm a night owl. I don't sleep well. Never have. And it's gotten worse as I've gotten older, but I try to get at least 7 hours of sleep a night, 6 to 7, which I normally do. I know, and it might.
No, but 6 to 7 though for a man in his 40s, that's actually pretty good.
Well,
a lot of people don't get that.
I have a hard time with my brain turning off.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I toss and turn until like 3. I sleep for 2 hours. I wake back up, and then I'm panicked. I'm not going to wake up.
Right.
It's awful. But last night, I'll tell you what. For the second night in a row, I took my CBDs. I took them late again though.
Yeah.
And I was out.
Well, I'll tell you, for me, it's very seldom that I get a deep, restful sleep.
Yeah, me either.
I'm turning, I'm moving, I'm thinking, my brain doesn't shut off. But yes, I'm trying to get more sleep. I'm trying to be better. I've cut my alcohol intake down. I only drink straight alcohol anyway, which is less calories. So I've tried to because I like to drink. I hate to say it, but
I'm right there with you.
I like to have a drink.
I'm not going to stop drinking unless the doctor tells me I have to.
There you go.
Yep.
But I've cut my calories because I'll tell you the nice thing about Riduzone, I feel fuller. I really do. I don't eat as much, which is good. But I've been more active, and now I'm down right now about 17 pounds.
That's awesome.
In about 10 weeks.
So you say your mind is restless. This is something that that I have a question about. They always recommend that you stop using electronics 30 minutes to an hour before you go to bed.
Now, see, I don't do that at all. I'm on my phone until I go to sleep.
See, that's that. But I can tell you what, it absolutely works.
Because I'll go home at night and, converse with the wife, find out what went on the day, eat dinner. No electronics. We're just talking.
Yeah.
I'll make something for dinner. There'll be about a 45-minute period there where we're having a conversation, catching up on the day. And then I start doing show prep for the next day. I have to. I have a 3-hour show. It takes me a couple hours.
Yeah. Can you tell I didn't do any show prep last night or this morning?
Well, yeah, because you came in and said, Matt, come over and talk to me. I'm just kidding.
No. Well, because I want to talk to you about the weight loss thing.
No. But, so at about, 30 minutes after dinner, I'm doing show prep. And that's a couple hours. And then I'm on social media. I'm trying to keep up. You know it. We own a business. You got to promote. You got to be out there. You got to be doing this stuff.
It's tough.
And before I know it, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
It takes
And that's when I unwind. At 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, I'm like, whew.
I know.
And I want to relax.
Finally.
Yeah, I want to relax and take my mind off stuff. So I got my phone out, but I'm watching TV. I'm relaxing. I'm in the MeWe chat room. I'm in social media with Twitter. And then I normally go to bed 11:30 midnight and get up about 7.
When I stopped all electronics an hour before bedtime, I would no more TV, no phone.
Right.
The phone is what kills me because I have it with me all the time.
All the time.
But I could listen to music, but no visual electronics, and I would read a book. Dude, a book is especially a book I really want to read is a guaranteed way to put me to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee I'm going to read 2 pages and I'm going to start reading one paragraph over and over and over, and I'm just going to go like this. I'm out. My head goes back, the book goes down, and I'll try to lift up a couple more times, and then all I know, I wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning with a light on and a book on my chest.
That's funny.
It works wonders, but that was really the best way for me. I've tried exercise in the morning, exercising at night. Actually, and a lot of people say, don't exercise right before you go to bed. I used to go to the gym at 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night when there were a few people though.
Yeah.
And I could get in a really just a ferocious workout in like an hour.
Oh yeah.
And I would go home and I would not turn on the television or anything. I'd take a quick shower and then I would just make some tea,
unwind,
have a snack or a protein shake and read, plan for the next day.
Yep.
Now by planning for the next day though, I'm just planning my to-dos, not doing show prep. I wasn't working with restaurant clients or anything.
Right.
That really worked for me. And I it's funny because I'm such a regimented person in a restaurant. Everything is like clockwork. Same thing every day, same time every day.
Right.
Nothing varies. I have systems, checklists. Man, I can't even get my post up on my own Facebook page. But I'm not treating my business here like I would typically treat a business elsewhere, and that's on me.
Well, and the funny thing with me, and I found it out, I started working out in the morning. I'm not a morning person. I hate the mornings. I'm unmotivated. It takes me a while to wake up. I'm cranky. I need coffee. I need caffeine. The last place I want to be is in a damn gym.
I hear you.
So I've actually found that for me, the gym works better at about 5:30 right before dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I can go burn calories. I can be by myself. I can get my cardio in or lift some weights. I can come home, make dinner, and then the rest of it, I've just fitted in there. And I go to the gym for about 40 minutes, in and out, fast. Get done, get out. I don't mess around, do my cardio, do whatever regimen I want to do, and then I'm out of there. And then the rest of the night's mine, and I'm wide awake. I've got everything out of the way. I've done my business for the day. I'm structured. I just have one thing after another. Boom, 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 boom.
No, I get it.
And once 5 o'clock, 5:30 hits, I'm done for about an hour before dinner and everything else before I go into my next structure, which is doing all my stuff for tomorrow.
It's a good way to be. Structure is good for me. Like I talked to you before about, how much social media stuff do you do right after the show? The big thing is that you make sure that you push it out to, not Twitter. You you push all the links out to Spreaker from Spreaker to like Twitter and all the other social media.
And that all happens automatically. So social media for me starts again around 7 o'clock because I'll do show prep and I'll be shooting articles right and left out.
Mine's not automated. So. Well, actually, it will go to Spreaker now, and I'm sure Ron's automated the rest of it. So.
But my social media, so I don't do anything social media until probably 6, 7 tonight.
I don't blame you.
Once I start getting back on the computer, looking at articles, and if I see something, that catches my eye, I plop it up to Twitter or put it on MeWe or whatever, and I do 3 or 4 of those a night.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, it's not as vital. Like, look, the food scene is a 24-hour news cycle, but not like the news is. It's not like politics, and it's not as difficult for me. But, I don't know. I just need to get a freaking handle on it, dude.
We need more people, but we're getting there.
No, we are.
Things are happening. Big things are happening.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. I actually, a young man reached out to me. I don't know if you saw the email the other day. So he messaged, if you message the Spoony radio page, then it comes to all of it. Well, not all of us. I don't think you get the Spoony ones, but
oh no, I get all the Spoony stuff.
He goes, hey, Chef, how do I interview with you?
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, so I just responded to him today. So I'm hopefully we'll hear back. We'll do a little phone call.
The platform, and we love all of you. The platform's starting to do well. Spoony's growing fantastically. You're bringing on new shows, 1 or 2 a week.
Big stuff tomorrow.
I mean, I'll commend you, Patrick, because you've worked very hard.
Oh, thank you.
To grow this little baby. We're all proud of it. We're working very hard to do that. We're working very hard to bring you quality programming that is food based. That is travel, leisure, food, culture, entertainment based that you can enjoy.
Yep.
And I love it. But I am down weight. I got to go though. I've got so many things to do this afternoon.
Well, congrats, man.
Thank you.
So if you're like Matt and you've changed your diet, your eating habits, you're maybe experiencing a little bit of a change in your tummy, go to lovemytummy.com. These folks, woo! Oh, that was a good catch. Atrantil, Dr. Ken Brown, he has a show on Thursdays here, the Gut Check Project. Look, a lot of your happiness, your content in life, it all comes from gut health. It's not just about how you feel in your stomach. It's about how you feel in your mind and the rest of your body. So check it out, lovemytummy.com. If you use the promo code Spoony, I think it's lovemytummy.com/Spoony. You get I think it's a 15% discount. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all the details. Fantastic product. And it's not really a prebiotic or a probiotic. It's kind of all inclusive because if it does what it's supposed to do, it creates the environment for those probiotics that everybody eats, not just to live in, but it helps your body to ensure that those are the microbes that live in that little biome that is your gut. Anyway, lovemytummy.com. Show them some love. Dr. Ken Brown, tomorrow's show is actually going to be a great one. I'm the guest. I am the guest of honor, so to speak, or victim of choice. I'm not sure, but it's sure to be a laugh. So catch it tomorrow. That is tomorrow, 9 to 11 Central. That is 10 to noon on the East Coast. And the rest, you got to figure out your own time zone. So, because some of you change and some of you don't. I can't figure it out anymore. All right. Back to, I was talking about these little tiny oranges from Japan. I got all excited about them because they're my favorite fruit. I know I said apples are my favorites. And overall, that's my favorite fruit any time of year, except when these little Japanese oranges come out. They're actually called, I said Kisu. I was off by one damn letter. It's Kishu. I was thinking Kissu. They're Kishu. And they're Mikan, which are, they're Japanese oranges. They're kind of, they're like a tangerine almost. But these Kishu are the best. They're a hybrid of Mikan, or a mandarin orange, right? That's found in southern China and grown in Japan. The fruit is known as baby mandarins or tiny tangerines or mini mandarins. I swear, these are the single sweetest bite of citrus I've ever had. Oh, and there are no seeds. They are segmented, and the segments are very pronounced on these. And as a matter of fact, the skin is super loose on them. And sometimes just by opening the skin, once you get them out of the peel, once you get them out of the peel, they actually, if you just kind of hold them and shake them in your hand, they fall apart into the different segments. It is so sweet. And then in the fall and winter, and like, well, all the way through the winter. You can get them at other times of year, but they have these things called, I love saying food in Japanese because it sounds so unpleasant in English sometimes, but kaki, which is They are, what do you call them? Persimmons. Now, American persimmons a lot of times are really tannic, right? And one of the best jokes you can play on someone, especially maybe your daughter has a boyfriend, you really don't want them to come around again. If you have a persimmon tree, especially in Texas, the persimmons never really ripen here. And so when you, they look ripe though, they turn this bright orange, and a persimmon kind of looks like an orange, but it's got this, leaf attached to it at the top where the stem is. That's it becomes really hard, and it's very dense. But you cut that out, and then you can actually eat the skin on them, but most people peel them. And it's got this creamy, really sweet. It's actually very almost honey sweet sometimes, creamy orange flesh fruit inside. But the ones in Texas don't really ripen. So if you want to get rid of somebody, upset someone or play a joke, a trick on someone, then you give them a bite of persimmon. I mean, it is so tannic that if you just cut it open and lick the flesh inside, it's like chewing on grape seeds. It's terrible. I mean, it gives this mealy texture to your mouth. It's really nasty. But the Japanese version are excellent. They have kumquats in Japan. They have a bunch of native fruit that we don't have there. They grow watermelons inside of a crate so that they look square when they come out. Their melons, the melons in Japan, the melon that grows on the vine that is a fruit, not the ones you're thinking of. Come on. Melons in Japan are awesome. They, oh my goodness, they tilt. So Japan is a very small island. Let me just go back a step. This is why I'm so fascinated with this culture. Japan is the size of California, Oregon, and a little bit of the state of Washington, less than half of the state of Washington. All right, now think about that landmass. Not that big, right? Now take everybody west of the Mississippi and shove them into that area. They basically have just over half the population, or just under half the population, of the United States in what is smaller than those three West Coast states, those states that comprise the entire West Coast of the United States. So the fact that they're actually a fairly self-contained society there as far as food goes. And it's just amazing, right? But they have all these wonderful fruits, and they can be very expensive. I mean, there are $80 melons, right? Their cantaloupe that they grow are just unbelievable. And then everything is taken such good care of, and it's handled with such gentleness. Like when you go to a department store, like I can't remember. There's one that begins with an N. I forgot, but it's like a department store. They open the door for you, and you go in. They still have someone who runs the elevator for you and asks you what floor and announces what's on each floor. But if you go into the produce department, it's just a very small area. They have like specialty foods. They have produce that's been grown in Japan, and what they do is they package it in a way that you can give it as a gift. So if you buy an apple, for instance, the apple will have this mesh around it. It's like a foam mesh, like a packing foam, but it's the rubbery kind, the spongy kind. It's got that. So they take that and then they put it inside of a little box, a little crate, and that crate has like straw nested in it. And then they cover it with more straw. Then they put the little box top on and they seal it. Now they take that and they wrap it in one layer of white paper or not indistinguishable nondescript wrapping paper, like crepe paper or something. And then they wrap it in a wrapping paper that is the color of the store logo. Then they take that beautiful box and they, after it's been wrapped like a Christmas gift, and then they put it inside of a bag for you, and then you walk out the door with your $84 melon, right? But they do some really unique things. They have tomatoes that they call fruit tomatoes because they're so sweet and so low in acid. They're fantastic. One of the things I love there is nashi, which is a pear. If you've never had a Japanese pear, it looks almost like an apple. They have a brown. They look like what are they? Danju pears? No, not Danju. They are So the what's the brown pears from France? It doesn't matter. Anyway, they have this brown like skin that's not smooth, right? Anjou pears have Bartlett pears. You know, they have that beautiful smooth skin. The Japanese pear don't have that. It's not real shiny, right? It's a very matte beige color, but they look like an apple, and they're extremely juicy, and they never soften like Bartlett pears do. You know, the Bartlett pears, they're green, then they turn yellow, and then they turn brown because they rot so fast. Like if you buy more than 2, you're guaranteed to lose half of what you buy. And they don't bruise very easily. They have this crispness that stays with them, even when the fruit has been in your pantry for a while or in the refrigerator, and it starts to give where it's kind of spongy when you press on it. It's still crisp when you eat it. It's fantastic. Then they have and they're big, they're large. They're typically, I don't know, the size of like a Honeycrisp apple. So, somewhere in the 12-ounce range for one. They make smaller ones, but they typically buy larger pieces of fruit. They have an apple that they call Hachimitsu Ringo, right? Ringo is an apple. Like Ringo Starr, yes, that's an apple, Ringo. Ringo. And what they do, Hachimitsu is honey from honeybees. So what they do is they inject the core of the apple when it's still small. They inject it several times with honey as it grows. What that does is it causes this dark ring inside, this dark center to the fruit, which is so sweet. And it tastes like honey. The fruit is still crispy and it tastes like apple, but it's got this honey injected boost of flavor. It's unbelievable. I mean, the creativity is very cool. We talked about persimmon. And dried persimmons are really great. If you go to some of the discount stores like I don't know if World Market's one of them, but if you go to World Market, or you can go to even some of the places like Ross or Marshall's, and they have the home goods section, and there's like a little section that'll have jellies and jams, and you'll find like preserved lemons and weird olive oils and pomegranate molasses and stuff that you don't typically have in a pantry that was maybe they were just leftovers, but they're durable goods, right? They food stuff that'll last a while. Didn't sell somewhere else, or were never the shipment never made it that far. Sometimes you find dried persimmon slices, and it's kind of like dried mango. The flavor intensifies so much when you dry it, and it's got this great chewy texture that's not leathery. It's fantastic. It's one of my all-time favorites. Anyway, Momo, peach. Japanese peaches are unbelievable, and they're typically larger than the ordinary peach. The flesh inside is typically lighter in color. Now they have regular supermarket peaches just like we do, but these are really high quality cold, and these are like $20, right, each. Yuzu is one of my favorite citrus fruit. You don't eat it, and oftentimes you just use the rind. They grow wild in China and Tibet. They've been cultivated in Japan since, the Tang Dynasty. I don't even know how long ago that was. But they aren't eaten. It's not a fruit to be eaten, just like lemons and limes. It's a condiment, right? It's great to use as a base for dressings. Yuzu with just a touch of honey. Maybe some fresh herbs and grapeseed oil instead of olive oil, because olive oil can have that strong flavor, is a fantastic base for a dressing. You can actually add a little heat to that with some, I don't know, maybe dried chipotle powders, or you could take the adobo sauce off of in the can of the chipotle peppers and adobo and add some of that in. And if you ever eat Japanese food, I know sushi is very popular now, and people like a sauce called ponzu, which is a citrus. It's a soy-based citrus sauce, basically, and actually they put it in tea oftentimes. It's really aromatic. I talked about this fruit, Buddha's hand, last week. This citrus, when Gwen Rich called in from the Rich Solution, it had a very similar smell to it. It's just fantastic. The thing is, it's very expensive, especially to buy the juice. When you buy the juice and it's unadulterated, not a ton of sodium added, and there's no other anything added to stretch that product and kind of add volume, because there's so little juice in it that I know I think 22-ounce bottles we used to buy from Japan of straight yuzu without salt were like between $40 and $80 a pop. But It's something you can't get anywhere else. Anyway, plums. Oh, Japanese plums are awesome. Oh, they have these wild plums that they pickle that are they pickle them. They're sour. They pickle them. It's really heavily brined. They're awesome. All right, hey, we're at the bottom of the second hour. Break time, unfortunately or fortunately. It depends on if you're tired of me or not. I need a break. I need some water. But hang in there. Laura Geen is going to be calling in from Ramo de Olivo, or Ramo Wine Bar in Bentonville, Arkansas. We're going to talk about a little wine, a little culture, and mostly wine. It's Wine Down Wednesday. I'm Chef Patrick, the Food Biz Pro. I'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's DIAthrive.com. Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called Riduzone, RIDUZone.com, RIDUZone.com. It's Brad's worked. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to Riduzone.com and try today. You're going to love it. Riduzone.com. Remember that, RIDUZone.com.
And I'm back one last time. We're on the fourth course of today's Food Biz Pro Show. Yes, it's dessert or wine or whatever you choose to have for your fourth course. We were just talking about these awesome fruits they have in Japan. I was looking, the melons they grow in Japan are almost all cantaloupe. And they literally go for over $100 or up to $100 per unit in certain stores. It's crazy. Hey, if you missed it, Chinese authorities arrested a man smuggling shrimp out of the country. And it wasn't just, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds. He had, get this, he's suspected of smuggling 15,500 metric tons of seafood over a period of time. That's a lot of shrimp right there. Now, this wasn't all at one time, right? But this is a value of like $133 million. $133 million. I mean, that's crazy. And what did he smuggled it into China from across the southern border from Vietnam. Vietnamese grow great shrimp. It's a fantastic product. Just not always the cleanest. All right, it can be really highly treated with lots of chemicals, and you can taste it. It's clean, fresh, unadulterated. American shrimp, American shrimp. Good fresh Gulf shrimp, never frozen, man. You can't beat that. Vaname whites or the browns that come off the coast of Florida. I think they have the most powerful, most shrimp-flavored shrimp you can buy. Anyway, enough about shrimp. Guess who's on the phone? I believe Laura Geen. Is that you calling in for Wine Down Wednesday?
Yeah. Yes, I am here. I'm sorry we missed last week.
Yeah, it's so funny because you sent me the text. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about it too. Sorry about that. So were you in town last week or were you somewhere fun?
No, I was
more
in
fun.
town. It was just kind of a crazy catch-up week, and by the time I thought of it, I'm like, oh, it's Thursday. So I apologize on that one.
Oh, it's okay. I was down with the flu last week a little bit anyway. It's still kind of kicking my butt. To be honest with you, I'm pretending to be a trooper and feel great, and I don't feel great. I can't lie. I don't feel great, but I just poured myself a glass of wine, whatever was left over in the fridge. I didn't even look at the bottle because I didn't have time to make a hot toddy. And I thought if you're going to talk about wine, then I should have a glass of wine.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to throw out a term for you this week, and it is GSM. That is the new GSM. Yes. We love GSMs. So it is a blend, and it's a lovely blend. It is Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. And now these are becoming really hot wines. And I have a couple here that are on my list in my wine shop. I have one from Barossa Valley Estate, which is out of Australia. And then I have a really nice one from Columbia Valley in Washington called The Guild. And these are just becoming the new hot blend for wine. Very drinkable.
That sounds delicious. I mean, is it reminiscent of any other blends that we would be aware of? I mean, not necessarily by brand, because look, when you get a French table wine that's just a blend, a regional blend, or just a blend, just as table wine, it's not necessarily distinctive, right? It's typically a very versatile wine, more like what we call a white picnic wine. But on the red side, they tend to have a little more character. Does it mimic anything else, or what uniqueness does it have that?
Well, it's just a really pleasing combination. These three grapes. So, as you know, Syrah is what we say here in France, would be a grape from France, and we also grow it here in California. But when it moved over to Australia, it was called Shiraz. So the Shiraz, the one from Australia, does say Grenache Shiraz and Mourvedre. So it is actually a French combination of grapes, like a Bordeaux. So one of the reasons that it's become very, very popular here in the United States, plus it is very pleasing. It's just a really easy wine to drink. It goes with food or without. So it's just a really nice wine that has become incredibly popular as of late, and increasingly in popularity. And I think as people learn more about French wine, they're looking for alternatives that we have that is like French. So this would be it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So is that brand new? How long have you had that in?
So the Barossa, the Australian one, I just got in this week. The Guild I've had for quite some time. Okay. So and we've just had a lot of requests for it, and I went ahead and brought this one in. It's a 90 point from Wine Spectator, and it's just so easy to drink. And the other great thing about it is they're affordable. So this is a bottle that you can buy off the shelf for $14.
Awesome.
I think the Guild is right around the same price, 15 or 16. So it's a very affordable. It's a great everyday wine, as you were saying, that, like a picnic wine. This is just your good, table wine to have all the time, in your house, give your guests, and it tastes amazing. So it tastes more expensive than it is, put it that way.
Well, that's always nice when when you feel like you're getting a discount. And there's still some pockets in South America that are undiscovered, or they're just coming to light. For a long time it was Chile, and now they're kind of, they're becoming very, very famous for their wines. So some of the Argentinian wines, which are excellent, are still a good value. You know what I just thought of? I was listening to you speak about all these, the great wines and the names, and I've been going to these vineyards and vintners to try and get people to come on the show, and not just come on, but to be to come in and talk about wines. I need to go to the distributors, and have them come in and talk about all the wines, because now I'm not just getting one vintners, I'm getting, hundreds. I mean, the distributors like Southern Wine and Spirits, they carry what, 500 different, more than that, probably. I don't know how many different labels they have. So, I'm glad we have this talk. I'm glad that I asked you to come on the show, because I had not thought about that. And not only that, then they have beers too.
They do have beer. And the other thing, within your wine distributors, which is what I like, they'll bring in your distributor, the people that are representing just certain brands or wines. And those people are experts on their brands. So you can bring in someone even through your distributor that is specific to certain brands. So say you're looking at, South American wines. Maybe they have a portfolio of South American wines, or vice versa, French, or different United States wines, and they're very, very knowledgeable about their portfolio. So that's a great way to talk about wine, and I learned so much from them every time they come here.
Now, do you still have the reps from specific vineyards coming in and doing your? Because you used to do little flights. They'll serve 2 or 3 or 4 wines, or I think it's typically 3 wines, but.
Right. So we have continued with the flight. We always offer wine flights here, which is actually unique to our area. No one else is doing that. But yes, I do have winemakers come in every so often, representing their wine that we carry. It's winter, so or actually, I should say, it's the first day of spring.
Yeah, spring is sprung.
It has been winter, so we don't have as many come in winter. But as we go into spring, we'll have a few. I've had actually some great, wonderful winemakers here from Raptor Ridge, from Oregon, Anthony Bell from Napa with Bell Wine. So yes, that is a really fun way to learn about some wine and how they make their wine. If you can't make it to the vineyard, which is always the most fun, it's nice for people to taste their wines here on a flight. When the winemakers come, they can ask them a lot of questions, and they love that.
Yeah, that's and I remember a couple of those tastings. It was fantastic. You know what I love is the passion that you and Tom have for the business, and you several times a year, you guys will take a break, a long weekend or a 4-day trip in the middle of the week. You'll go out to Napa, visit some of the vineyards, and you're always looking for something new and exciting to bring in, and it's just fantastic to see that.
Exactly.
Or new olive oils, or the vinegars that you have on the other side of the store as well. It's I commend you for that, because a lot of people lose that when you get bogged down by the operation side of things, right? You get lost in the detail.
Correct.
And you forget about the fun that it was, the whole idea that you started the business. I see it happen in restaurants all the time. People get so burned out. Hey, that's why I'm on the radio, right? Not really. I just want to spread the word and preach the gospel of food. Yes.
It's an alternative.
So real quick, because I want to get into the great wine plague in a minute. We've touched on that a little bit, kind of broad brushstroke. But are there any other trends that you're seeing come about right now? But I see blends are making it back on the market, because they were really big in the early to late 90s, right? Until about 99, 2000, and they kind of just went away. There were some great, California Meritages.
Yes, people were talking about Meritage, and now, actually, I have to say that blends are more people are interested in blends than anything else. They're just so different and just pleasing, because each, I would say almost every vineyard that I buy from has some sort of blend. We are actually doing a wine tasting tomorrow afternoon here in our wine shop, and we're doing the Z. Alexander Brown wines, and it's actually the Zach Brown, the band. They own a vineyard, and we're tasting their wines, and they have a fabulous blend, but they also have a Cab, a Pinot Noir, a Chardonnay, and a Sauvignon Blanc. So we will be tasting all their wines. And, the blend tends to be the most popular. And it's just, I think it's affordable, and it is pleasing to people's palate. Plus, it goes with food. and or not. And that's what people are looking for. They want a wine that they can just drink. They can open and they can just drink. And so the vineyards are producing those, and they're fabulous.
That's awesome. I mean, Zach Brown, I saw him at the Houston Livestock Show, or Rodeo, Rodeo and Livestock Show, or Livestock Show and Rodeo a couple years ago on not opening night, but what a great show. I had no idea that the Zach Brown band or Zach Brown owned a vineyard. I mean, I knew he had the wine.
I know, isn't that fun?
Well, I even knew the name of the vineyard, Z-Round, but I didn't ever put the two together. I think I knew it. I just never
and people love that.
thought about it. But it's amazing how many famous people are involved in distilling and vineyards, and like Fess Parker. I think he was one of the originals. You know, he was Daniel Boone. What, 75 years, 60 years ago on television? And then nobody knew him as Fess Parker, and now I love their wines are pretty fantastic. Actually, it's one of the smaller estates out there, but. I'm kind of good. I'm trying to put some pressure on my friend. He is the assistant general manager at Plump Jack out there. Have you ever had Plump Jack wines? Oh my gosh, they're so expensive.
You know, I've heard of it. I have not had it myself, but I would love to go. So if you get in, just let me know and I'll meet you there.
I will. Well, I'm not sure I can get you in time in there. I'll just call Adam. I'm not going to say his last name on the air, but Adam, if you're listening to me, you should have gotten your allotment by now. Okay, you should have it. So I'm expecting. Yeah. I'm expecting when you come back to Texas to visit some relatives, bring a bottle and allow me a taste. How's that? I'll settle for just a half a glass. Actually, the wine isn't doing it for me. I moved it off the desk. I'm going to go back to drinking water. So, but yeah, Plump Jack. It's one of the it's super high end. It's stuff out of my price range. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So
Well, again, why the blends are so popular, because it's affordable and you can drink it every day.
Well, and it's very versatile, right? A lot of varietals have such a unique personality, right? That they're not geared towards pairing with specific or a lot of foods. They have to kind of have something specific. If you have a lot of tannins, you can't have something that's just kind of like asparagus. It's got this other strong opposing flavor. You want something rich and or creamy or with a big beef flavor to it to kind of offset that, right?
Right.
That's why I love the blends so much. That's why I was curious. I hadn't asked or I hadn't shopped for blends specifically in a while, and I rarely go out and drink wine. But I had a feeling it's about time. It's been 20 years. So it's about time for the pendulum swings back the other way, and blends are back in for now.
Yeah, and go out and look for a GSM. It will be on the label, because that is actually one of the most popular blends that is happening right now. They actually have named it GSM. Grenache, awesome. Syrah, Mourvedre. And I like Syrah. I mean, Grenache,
I'll have to try it. We'll have to try it. All right, so I asked you a question. You were going to try to stump me with it the first time you called in if we had time. But, I ask people all the time, or I explain to people all the time, I believe that the real reason that the French hate us, it's not because we're arrogant or don't like French food and we don't speak French, it's because there was a great plague that was brought. I mean, we didn't actually do it to the French and the Italians and a lot of the other people in Europe, the other countries. But there was a plague, this mite that attacks the root stock. I mean, it decimated the vineyards there. Just decimated them. And then California got to take over. That's pretty much what happened. And so this was in the 1860s. It started around 1858, but there was this big exodus of American varietals or American root stock or vines taken over there. So there's the only native grape to North America is called Vitis vinifera, right? It's it's the only native grape here. That's all I can tell you that I know of, and it has this little mite that can be near it and can live on it, but it doesn't sap the liquid out of the root. It's called phylloxera. It's an aphid, right? And so what happened was they started taking all these vines back to Europe, and it would get in the soil. This phylloxera would, and it would attach to the other roots, and it would kill the vine. And these were like 150-year-old vines. in some of the most established vineyards you can think of. I mean, we all know the big names. And it wiped out like 90% of the old vines, almost 100% in some areas. It's crazy to think about that. So now, even now, it's very hard to rid the soil of that aphid, of phylloxera. So every vine that's planted has to be grafted onto rootstock, the roots of the Vitis vinifera vine. So they have to grow all these Vitis vinifera vines. They cut and you can do them like you do other cuttings. You know, you just cut a section off, then you sprout it in water, then you cut the roots up, but then you graft it to the actual upper part of the vine of another plant. I cannot imagine how that's changed winemaking in Europe forever.
Well, and now you know that it's happening in Italy.
Yeah,
I've heard that they're starting to have a lot of the same rot in Italy and on the most ancient of the vines.
Well, yeah, because they were kind of protected because of the Dolomite Mountains, and they had some of the better wine regions were shielded from that because you have Alps and then you have the Dolomites and they were shielded from that. But now, because there's still this, look, Europe is one big open trade center, and I mean, plants just travel freely everywhere, and I'm sure it's starting to proliferate there. It's just there are some places that have never been affected. They've never found it. So it's isolated by the Atacama Desert in the north, the Pacific Ocean on the west, the Andes Mountains to the east. This is where it's natively found, and then it's never been found in the wine-growing regions of Australia. I think that's the only place they've never, ever, ever found. They've never been able to identify any, but.
Well, and so hopefully those vines are protected in Australia, and that we could always have that rootstock.
Yep. I mean,
right.
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's actually when that happened in Europe, in France specifically, in certain regions of Italy, and it did hit some of Germany, not so much Germany, but their wine growing regions are very small and very, very central. But in the mid 19th century, that's when Chile started to develop their vineyards. So I'm pretty sure that's I'm sure it is. It's a direct relation to that because the first wines they started to produce were Cab, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot. What's the Carmenere?
And Carmenere, and then also the Malbec.
And Cab Franc as well,
right?
I think.
Cab Franc, yep, definitely. They're in a lot of the Chilean wines.
Cab Franc, I think, is underestimated.
Oh, absolutely. And I love a lot of Bordeaux have the Cab Franc in it.
Yep.
With the Merlot and Cabernet, and that's always been the traditional blend out of Bordeaux. But the Cab Franc alone is outstanding.
Yummy stuff.
Great.
So
definitely,
spring is here. So the farmers market in Bentonville starts pretty soon.
I believe we start in
end of April. Yeah,
like April. I think it's like the 20th. Yeah, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm.
So I was just talking on
like Good Friday.
Oh yeah. So they start.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The next day.
And then they
the
have
21st.
And then
that's it.
I love the first Fridays in Bentonville. Such an awesome thing. It's like a family fair every weekend. The first Friday of every weekend of every month. But I love farmers markets, and I'm always surprised. Like the variety of produce in Bentonville was amazing. I mean, there's obvious reasons, right? It's an economic hotbed, and
right.
Culturally, there are people from every country in the world go there on a monthly basis. But is there something that you love to go to farmers markets for? That you can't always find somewhere else. I'm going to get off the topic of wine for a minute, just to kind of chat food and because I know you and Tom cook a lot.
Farmers markets, I love the fresh arugula. That's hard to find in the supermarkets as fresh as that, and also sometimes you'll find like the root vegetables that are great. We grow a lot of root vegetables here, and there's people don't even know what to do with all of them, and the great onions. That there's so many different kinds of onions, and the heirloom tomatoes that come out later in the summer. I mean, they're just juicy and amazing. Just love going to the farmers market for some of that fresh herbs and the lettuces and, like I said, the funky root vegetables and all the different heirloom tomatoes. It's just so fun.
Yeah, and I love all the Chinese, the Asian greens. When I did Thai food for a long time up in Denver, and I was lucky enough to work in Chicago and train with very authentic Thai chefs, and another chef out of Singapore, and a couple of guys out of Vietnam. Gai Lan I talked about it earlier, is my favorite, and it's kind of like, it's got this stalk that's about an inch around, and it kind of tapers upwards, and it just has one big leaf on the top, pretty much. And you just slice it thin on a bias, and then you saute it, and it's just fantastic. But I couldn't find it up there, and I was talking about one of the farmers actually brought pumpkin vine for me. And you peel that little fuzzy skin off, and then you cut it into whatever size you want. I cut them into like a 3-inch sticks, and you saute them, and they have a crunchy texture without the seeds, though. A crunchy, fibrous structure to them, like kind of like okra, but they're not slimy. It's fantastic. It's got this fresh taste to it. I mean, I guess if you could smell pumpkin, it reminds you of that flavor, but you don't taste pumpkin. It was awesome. I used it.
You need to give us some recipes for that, Patrick.
Oh my God, it was so good.
That sounds like something that you need to produce some recipes for, because I'm sure most people wouldn't know what to do with it.
I know, but with this whole, what, tail to snout, and root to fruit kind of direction that we're going with zero waste. Look, if we just used all of the plant, or 70% of the plant that we harvest, instead of using 5 to 10% and throwing the rest away, that's a tremendous reduction in the amount of land we need to use for agriculture, and the impact that has. And the biggest impact for me is that it's the transportation and the amount of fuel burned and man hours it takes just to man those fields all that time. So if you reduce that impact and reduce the size, it's great. It's very beneficial. But enough about that stuff. You know what I like in Bentonville? That's at the farmer's market every week, is that pie guy. The guy that does like the straw. My God, he does.
Berry or something.
Yes, he does a mixed berry pie that's got blueberries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberry, and another berry in there. Oh, that's probably the best pie I've had.
Yeah, the boysenberry or something like that, and they're amazing.
And he makes makes challah.
Right, and they have the freshest fruit here, the berries, because that all grows here locally. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so delicious, because he really is a good baker. He's outstanding. There's quite a few pie places all of a sudden. That is a thing now too, pie shops.
Yeah, you know what? Fort Collins actually has a pie place that just opened up sometime last year up in Colorado. But they're all over the place. They're all. I ran across one on going west towards the mountains from Fort Collins on this country road. I mean, it's a major country road. It's a little tiny, like 12-seat little pie shop, and they were busy. They had like people lined up to the door all day long. Crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, pie is, like I said, it is a phenomenon. It is just taken over. We have at least 3 pie shops here, and we're so small. Look how small
50,000
we are. We have
people.
pie shops. But I mean, who doesn't love pie, right?
I know.
I love pie, right?
People. Well, we have one of the show hosts here. He was producing the show earlier for me, Matt Locke, and he doesn't like sweets. I don't like stuff that's extremely sweet. Like I don't like stuff with frosting typically. It's just too sugary for me. But pie is a whole different. Yeah. That's a whole different. Especially fruit pies. I can still taste mincemeat pie from when I was a kid. The fruit version of that, which had raisins and other stuff in it. Not my favorite, but I'd eat that even with some fresh whipped cream, a little chantilly cream on there, and a dusting of cinnamon. Can you tell I don't eat lunch before I come on the show? And I said I was giving up bitching for Lent. I was going to stop complaining. And I haven't done a very good job because I always come on here a little hangry. And I need to be more proactive in doing that. Hey, we got about 45 seconds left. Do you want to give a shout out to anyone? Recommend any last minute recommendations?
Well, like I said, come by for a recommendation of a really great blend or a GSM. And yes, the farmers market is going to be is a month away, and we're excited for all the fresh food that we're going to be able to buy locally, and just buy local. You know, shop local, buy local.
Absolutely. And hey, if you want a great getaway, Bentonville, Arkansas, the whole northwest corner of Arkansas is beautiful. Up into Missouri, great place to go camping, kayaking, canoeing, fishing, great dining experience, great cultural things like Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. Hey, where do they find you online, Laura?
Oh, we are at ramodelivo.biz.
Gotcha. So that's RAMODOILIVO.biz. And you can go to Ramo de Olivo on Facebook as well. Thanks, Laura. Tell Tom I said hi, and we'll talk to you next week.
Both. All right.
Thank you.
Patrick. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So, well, geez, another 2 hours of time. Good, bad, or ugly. I'm not sure. It was fun for me. I hope you had a good time. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. You know, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be feeling better. I'm a little tired. Flu's taking its toll. But, man, we got some great new shows launching. Randy White comes up next week. Tomorrow, we got Jeff Wetzel on with a pond to plate update, little fishing update. How to catch what you cook, how to cook what you catch. Hey, be good to your bodies. You are what you eat. And that's it. That's all I got for today. Ciao for now. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is the only 24-hour take anywhere